Welcome everyone to the Finance and Performance Committee this Thursday, the 27th of August. This is our third meeting today, so bear with us and thank you to anyone online. So firstly, we'll move to apologies, and we've received apologies from Councillor Diana Baird and Councillor Paul Charland. I can move that they be accepted. It was seconded, Councillor Wilson. Thank you. Public forum. Oh, beg your pardon. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Moving to public forum. I don't believe there's any on the table today. And then item number 4 is the conflict of interest declarations. Has anyone got anything they'd like to declare at this stage? No, thank you. And also there's no change to our order of business. So we'll just go ahead as per our order paper in front of us. Item 6 is the confirmation of minutes. If anyone's got any amendments that they'd like to talk to, please speak up. We'll go through page 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 10. Any changes to that? Councillor Wilson.
Move true and correct.
Thank you. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Wong. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Item number 7 is our follow-up actions from previous minutes. Thank you very much for staff for the big writing. It's particularly helpful for someone like me, and I don't have any AI glasses on. Yeah, does anyone want to talk to that?
I can provide some comment through you, Madam Chair. So you'll recall you had your workshop last week around your assumptions, the LTP on population projections. So we talked about those there. And then in the status comment, we'll provide you with an exact number of how much % we are behind those projections from the last long-term plan.
Thank you.
So my suggestion is that's marked as a completed action, and we'll take that off.
Thank you very much. Any other queries or anything anyone would like to bring up? Okay, so happy to move that the follow-up actions items from Finance and Performance meeting be received. Second, with worship the Mayor. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. I've tabled my chair's report earlier today, so I'll just read that through. And so we wait. We're not in Head Start, but where are we? I understand central government will have some announcements regarding their Head Start applications by the end of September. Apparently, the learnings from these will influence their backstop decisions. We haven't been told, but I don't imagine we will hear anything until February, March next year. What can we do in the meantime? Do we keep doing due diligence on our neighbours and hope we are puzzled together? There are so many unanswered questions. Do we need the might of a metro? What are the implications of a federation model for us? Will central government consider it? Could we simply strengthen our shared services offering? Is a whole horizons unitary too big? Are the ministers going to be willing to listen and understand our preferences? What if National is not re-elected? Just this week, rates capping has been confirmed for 2029. Amid a sea change of legislative reform, RMA, water reform, amalgamation, etc., I'm concerned the structure of local government is not being considered alongside what services are being delivered for the next 50 years? And most importantly, how is that service delivery going to be funded? The current system feels broken. Uncertainty is scary, and I am worried for our district. In this meeting, we consider the Council's activities for the new financial year as our year ends 30th of June. We also consider the end of year statement of service report. I note that due to budgeting constraints, we've only resealed 3.9% of the network, despite a target of 6% or more, and remetalled just over half our target. Disappointing for sure. It indicates the importance of our relationships with NZTA to support our budgets. Currently, they subsidise 6% of our budgets, 66% of our budgets, but it's totally at their discretion what budgets they approve. While there has been some reasonable improvements across many areas, our ageing infrastructure has meant an inability to meet standards, particularly in the drinking water and wastewater space. These issues will become the responsibility of the new entity after the 1st of July 2027. We understand over 60% of our existing debt will be transferred to Central District Water, while we will only lose 20% of revenue. While the local farmers are having a boomer, the threat of El Nino lingers in the air, and we do need rain. Thank you for today's rain. Meanwhile, recovery outside ag still appears slow and challenging for many of our ratepayers. Hei waka eke noa, we're all in this together. And I'm happy to move that report we received. Any questions or discussion?
I'll second the report.
Thank you.
You're right on target here. We now just wait for government's direction and backstop, but the point is that we continue the discussions with our neighbouring councils.
Thank you.
Just also second what the mayor said, but I'm just wondering at what stage you're in my head, because I don't know when you were there, but a lot of the comments that you've made have already been through my thought processes. So well done. I agree with what you said.
Table. Thank you. So all those in favour? Against? Carried. Item number 9 is our reports for information, and we start with the finance snapshot July 2026. Hi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll take the report as read and submit Warren's apologies. He's handed over to me. He's gone fishing. There's not a lot happening in July. It's usually quite a quiet month, as not so much from the work, but from the bills coming in and the money coming in. So there's not a lot to report. I'm going to take it as read and happy to take questions.
Just one very quick one for me, and you do touch it, the carry forwards. So when do we see those carry forwards come forward?
Through the chair, we'll bring the carry forward in October. The September one's just too early, the 3rd of September, and we're still working through quite a bit of work. So
that will be a reasonably significant document to understand a lot of the information that's in here going forward, correct, to LTV.
And of course, there won't be any carry forward for water.
Yeah.
That will simply be unspent, and if it's not debt, as in if it's revenue we've received but not spent, that would land in their reserves, which will be part of the wash-up process.
We'll start to see some of those things signalled in that reporting of October.
Correct.
In our minutes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you'll see the carry forward report like we would typically do, us requesting to carry forward work that needs to be carried forward or revenue that needs to be carried forward. And we've already got a really high, as you can see, capital budget plan for this year. And so if we've got high carry forward as well, that's signalling a lot of work to get done in this current year, which will need to be monitored.
Yep.
If there's no further discussion, can we move in a second to proceed to that report, please? Thank you. Councillor Wilson, seconded Councillor Wong. All those in favour? Against, carried. Next, we move to the QV report 9.2 to June 2026 on page 33. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the QV report for information. It's a usual report that we've provided. It's a snapshot from the QV dashboard. Just of note, 1.6 for the year end 2026, total capital values were up 5.7% for the district, and rating units increased by 45 for the year. And just a note on 1.8 was a general information from QV that the house price index for the 12 months to the end of June nationally, residential property values reduced by 0.6%. The Rangituki District reduced by 0.5%. So we didn't reduce as much as everybody else. Any questions?
Can you just remind me when the next revaluation of our district is?
It's in the process
Right now.
preparation now, as at September.
1st of August.
1st of August.
Yeah.
1st of August.
So we're doing the work and that will be effective for the 1 July 2027. So part of the challenge with that, it always falls for us on a long-term plan year. So with everything else going on, we're going to have a revaluation. So what I'm proposing to do is when we bring the rate modelling for consultation, if we've got the new revaluations by that stage, we'll model the rates increase against properties as though there was no reval, and then we'll do it with the reval to try and help take our community on that journey, because this is where it's going to get really messy. Water's going to go out, but somebody's capital value might significantly increase and they're like, well, my rates have gone up heaps and yet we've lost water. So we need to be able to show that. It's going to be quite a complex long-term plan in so many ways of moving parts, and adding revals to it is just adding to that challenge.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yep. So quite conscious of it, hoping we're as prepared as we can be, because what we're hoping for is it to go through smoothly. We get our green light quickly. We get signed off by the Auditor General of Property, of valuations, and we have that information ahead of consultation. I don't know if we will or not.
Through you, Madam Chair. So the challenge process timeline for QV, they release on what date, and when will the challenge process end against our LTP positions?
So the 1st of October with audit.
And then we have, that's us meeting.
Yeah.
And then I think it opens to the public to feedback in
And they
November,
get 6
isn't it?
weeks. Yeah, they get
Yeah.
6 weeks.
It doesn't close off until
Just
early-
before Christmas.
Yeah.
Just
But we could still be, if we've got a map earlier, we would probably go 90% of this will be correct, and let's start having a look at what it looks like.
So
If
if it closes off in August, in terms of the challenge tour,
no, it won't be in August. We only
Value
start the
as at-
valuation.
okay,
Yeah, it won't close off until, I believe, I thought it was early January.
yeah, that's what I was just thinking. It was the first couple of weeks of January,
So
and so
far.
it's always been this problem
That makes
that's
sense.
over the holiday period.
Yeah. If we get it earlier, pending everyone, we could start looking at the modelling and keep our fingers crossed that it won't be any material challenges.
so nearer to the time, there'll be an action around the comms so that people are advised.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The comms, through you, Chair, the comms will be critical because of the things that you've identified, but also identifying quite simply that it is not the Rangituki District Council that does the valuations, because there's often been a misread from our communities that we sit around and decide what the values are. We certainly don't. It's very much an independent organisation that we then base our rating values on,
And we're
so
going to get lots more money because the values have gone up.
we're going to, yeah, which isn't actually the case, as you well
No.
know.
Yeah. So there'll be some good messaging, but also we want people, if they want to challenge the evaluations, they need to do it during that period because there isn't a charge. Later, if they go back later on, QV will charge them. So they need to really have that understanding. QV will also send out a letter on our behalf as well, but we'll arrange comms.
What happens down the line, and it's not something we could work on at the moment, but say we have 600 or 700 hectares of solar put in, they'd be put in by way of a lease program with farmers. It wouldn't be a sale, but the asset value from a farmer's point of view, because they've just leased some ground, probably doesn't change.
It won't make their land, it potentially won't make their land more worthy. It'll make their business more valuable because they've got a long-term income stream. They don't own the asset that's sitting on their farm.
How would that be picked up by evaluation in terms
It
of
won't.
rates?
It'd
No
be-
way at all.
No, it's not adding a value to the land and improvements. It's their business doing well.
I really think that if you had a property that had the ability to connect because of its proximity to substations or whatever, it would be more valuable.
It's more the
That would
infrastructure
only
they've
be
built on
determined
it.
by sale.
Yeah.
Mm.
They could request a
That's
reval
exactly-
because they would request it, not us. So we will go on the valuation that we're given from QV. They could potentially go to QV and say, we've got whatever value of panels sitting on our farm, and it's given us an increase in income with the revenue stream, and get their land revalued. Then we would pick it up in the future year.
Why would
But
do
they
that?
won't do that. Why would they? They will only do that if they're selling.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's it exactly. Whereas we will get people that are neighbour to wanting a revaluation of their property because of the effect, the visual effect.
Potentially. But then it's no different to a business in town suddenly generating a lot of profit. We don't benefit off that either. And you can't control what your next door neighbour does with their business.
I'd just
Many
love to be
times.
able to rate these.
I know, so would I. The only way around that is somehow they'd have to change their designation from farming to a different category. And we decided to introduce a commercial.
I mean, that's an interesting aspect because MBIE's classification of land is dependent on where their
Primary
finances
purpose.
come from.
Primary purpose.
Yeah.
But if farming is still their primary purpose, then they're going to be rated under our rural
Yeah, but
rules.
you put in a solar farm, their primary purpose is electric generation.
Depends which one it brings the most income, the livestock.
Generation by a long, long way. 3 times the value of farming.
Mm.
Then the way around it is, do they have to have a consent?
Katrina's going to tell me the answer to this. What's a consenting process? Sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole,
Yeah,
and I
because-
know that, but we're looking at significant land function change around it.
If there's going to be a classification and QV change the classification of that, we would want to make sure we had a rating classification for that.
Mm.
So that's a question for me to take to QV.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what you're trying to get me to say, isn't it, me, Andy?
But it probably is relevant to find out for the wind farms as well.
Do they go on people's private farm?
Yes.
Right. We'll look into that.
Suggesting there, Andy, as a target, potentially a targeted rate. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. Is it would we bring another classification into our general rate and any of our rates that, like we have with forestry, we've got a classification. Are we going to look at this as a whole new classification?
I don't think you got to fix the answer now.
It's really, really hard, Dave, because in terms of determining a classification, and you'd have to justify that it put a loading on our district in some way to justify an increased rate.
Most of these leases are 35 or so years, so surely that is the justification.
We could say it's commercial and have a higher rate, or we could justify that if it's devaluing the neighbours' properties, then we would have to lift it to balance out.
But what I'll do
If it
is I'll
was.
scurry around the bottom of the burrow that I've just dug.
Yeah, you go and have a look,
Consider it and
Yeah.
think about what options could be.
and I'll talk to QV to see what what anyone else has done.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's important. We've got significant change happening in our district and we need to keep our heads around it. So I just want to point out page 34. I think it's an important number that the rating units in the Rangitikei currently sit at 8,929.
But more than the eight that I said the other week, yeah.
So I'm happy to move that this report be received. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Moving to back with Lorraine to item 9.3, quarterly property sales.
So this is the quarterly summary that's provided on and taken from data sourced from our own internal systems around quarterly sales by capital value against dollar sales. And we've given both the quarterly and the year-end figures in this particular report. It's fairly self-explanatory, but any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, then. In the essence of time, happy to move the receipt of that report. Seconding, thank you, Councillor Wong. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 9.4 is the debt collection update, page 45.
Thank you again. Again, quarterly update of council's debt collection activity as with information from Debt Management Central, DMC, part of NWLAS. The dashboard for June is there. We've also got some comparative figures with last year's for your information with the ageing. So between the 2 years, so since June 2025 to June 2026, the outstanding individual debt, the highest individual debt was 59,000. That property, the property involved with that was sold through a rapid sale. The current single largest debt outstanding is now 51,000 in one property.
Just on those two numbers, they're quite big numbers. Did the sale of the properties attract enough to recoup the amount of monies owed?
No.
No.
Well, in that case, no. Sometimes we do, and actually we've had some good wins last year, but this particular one, no.
I suspect that was probably going to be the answer. Because I look at this in the table above, you've got one listed as being abandoned land. So if it's abandoned, it probably has limited value, I suspect. Where is that recorded? Because that must be written off somewhere in the debt schedule. Because it's recorded as a rate. If we've got rates outstanding, they still sit in our rates until they get written off if they're not received. So where's the write-off figure? Is this
That'll sit against not our income, against an expense.
That's part of your, is that, so you've got a provision for doubtful debt?
Yeah.
Okay, so that filters into that
Yeah.
and then takes it out, if
Yeah.
I'm correct? Yeah.
Because that one's legislative, we have no choice over it.
Yeah.
Once it's sold, we can't make anyone else pay that, what's outstanding.
Okay. Are we lucky to see the 51?
Don't know, can't answer that.
Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair. How many properties were sold for less than the cost of sales?
Not for the cost of sales, as in the charge that DMC charges us for selling all real estate. But I think last year we did well. I think it was,
We had one sale, but yeah, the cost was covered.
we had one where we actually did well on it.
I'll just caution you there, we didn't do well on it. We recovered some unpaid rates.
Yes.
To say that we did well on it doesn't sound good.
I'll restate it a different way. The sale covered all of council and regional council's rates, unpaid,
Yeah.
and funds went to the public trust.
Thank you.
We can't make a profit on it. The other thing
You
there.
want that information clarified, Your Worship?
No.
Right. Thank you.
The other thing there, and I was talking to Nadine today, who processes our rates, rebates, and she's processed over 400 year to date versus 300 for the same time last year.
Just on this one, with rates, this is, and through you, Chair, just to record, this is a legislative process that we go through when it comes to recovery of rates on either an abandoned property or a sale of a property to recover rates. It's absolutely legislated by law. It's not a space that council actively gets up in the morning getting excited about going through. Our staff don't want to go through it, but we are following the letter of the law and processing as we are required to do.
Yeah, in terms of the rates rebate scheme, we're up by 100. How are we publicising it, the opportunity to go for rates rebate?
We send out to all of those that got it last year, we send out the form. I don't know if,
Physically send out the form.
and I think we put
And-
something in our rates.
Yeah, and within our offices like in at Ratana and in Taihape, publicise it in written posters.
Should I be doing something in the paper as part of, say, Mayor's, if you would provide me with the information in a style that I can just, because that's a free script process, if you like, for council.
It's free in that we get reimbursed for the remission of the rebate, but we don't get reimbursed for the time that we spend doing
Yeah, but
these.
I'm looking at it from the ratepayer's position, not council's position. But those people who are eligible should be able to pick up a scheme. The more we can publicise it, especially publicising it through the Mayor's report at no cost, is useful.
Absolutely.
Okay, if there's not any further discussion, happy to receive the debt protection update. Seconder, please. Thank you, councillor Wong. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 9.5 is around the LGFA general information.
So this is the quarterly shareholder and borrower update we received it from LGFA. I will, they were attached. If there's any questions.
Just one for me, and I haven't gone right through this because it's a standard document that comes through. But my sense here is that it is a document that we may need to take a bit of a look at post Three Waters or local water done well amalgamations, because LGFA is doing a fair chunk of the funding through to that, although they have some other funding lines. So some understanding of this level of reporting and the risks associated will come back through this document, or will it come back through the shareholding committee via the boards?
Through the
This
LGFA,
is the one that we're going to need to look at in the future.
but
This is
noting,
where the impact will be.
correct, but noting, instead of the council's borrowing that money to do the infrastructure work, the CCO, the water company is borrowing it.
Yes, but noting we have a pro rata share either way.
Correct.
We have,
But
we have,
everybody's is growing.
we have a pro rata share of the debt either via this way directly through our in-house water services. We've got the same pro rata share that we've signed up to when we transition through, is my understanding, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So effectively, there'll just be another line for the new CEO from Central Districts Water.
They'll be receiving the LGFA reports in the same way, and they will be looking at, they'll be one of the shareholder, depends what they're doing, but they'll have liability against not just the debt, but they'll have the liability as a member of LGFA, like we do, I think we're 0.003 or something. And it will grow.
Nice to see that they received, they met 18 out of 21 of their performance standards, so, good horse to be backing.
Yeah.
So, happy to receive that report. Seconder, please. Councillor Wilson, all those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Worship is referring to the rates, rebates and remissions earlier.
So-
Take us through this bit, please.
So this is the annual summary that we provide to the Finance Performance Committee. There's a table there showing just a summary of the remissions register. We have updated our remissions policy in recent times, so this may be available next year. This is as at June. There was 25% reduction in the number of penalty submissions received. However, the amount increased marginally, 5%. But this overall was less than the average increase in rates, which is at 7.9%.
Yeah. Just on this one, this is something that I think as a council, we're going to need to take a pretty strong look at going forward, along with other things, particularly as we focus on our LTP. And as we drive towards potential rates capping, this is where some of these tough conversations are going to come in as to, because whilst it's listed as a rates remission, the rates don't actually go away. They have to be accounted for and absorbed by other ratepayers somewhere along the line in the system. They don't just magically disappear. The number that we need to bring in as a organisation to service the district stays the same. So when we remove effectively, in this case, which is $101,953 out of there, that doesn't disappear. It's absorbed elsewhere. So I'm just thinking about some of these small little bits and pieces that we do within the organisation that, in the context of them, may be only a request for a rates remission that comes across our table for a small amount of money. Collectively, they can be quite a big amount of money. And so I think this is just one of a number of things I think we're going to need to take a focus on. I'm not focusing on it now, but I'm just raising it because it's sitting right in front of us now. It's supposed to be aware of.
However, equally, it can be argued that from the incentivising residential development, which now is a low figure because it only applies to the north, at $1,200, you could argue that those two properties bring in probably the best part of 4,000 each. So you could argue a net gain of 6,000 on that classification. So, some of the incentivisation actually creates a financial position for us.
I'll just add to penalties. They're added after we've struck rates. Remember that they're not part of the rates. And so when we give remissions, it's because we've got a payment plan in place, unless we've made a mistake, but typically it's because they've put a payment plan in place. And if we can give them a remission on their penalties, which is over and above, because they're now paying their rates, and we always have a caveat that, we want to see that that's happening, then we're winning because we're getting our rates paid again. So it is kind of as an incentive, for lack of a better word.
I understand the process, and I'm not looking to dissect it now, but it is one of those places where you're going to have the conversation because your rates penalty there that you're talking about awarded for was factored into your budgeting.
Income and cost, both.
So therefore it has an effect.
Yeah, but it's a null effect because we budget for the penalty revenue, for lack of a better word, and the cost of remissions. Financial hardship, no. Incentivising, not so much. And any others are kind of, they are the ones that often, after the rates have been struck, and yes, they come off the revenue we expect to collect.
In terms of the rates remission register, Maori land, where does that sit?
It's under
Is
the,
this-
any other matters.
So there's no way effectively we can probably change that
We have to follow
unless
legislation.
we could start to argue that there's some income generated from
And likewise, under the disproportionate, there are some that have been ongoing or continue to be ongoing.
So, can I ask then why someone wouldn't have applied for this and had a saving of 10 grand? Sorry? So if they're Maori land, and we had 5 in 2025, and we only had 4 in 2026.
No,
No,
those,
it's
any
not
other matters
all.
are not necessarily Maori land. That is
Yeah.
where one might fall. One might
Right.
fall in there a remission because their house unexpectedly burnt down and they haven't been revaled, and we might have agreed through council to give them a remission.
Okay.
Under the other
In this
matters,
case, in this
Thank
case, there was one there for inaccessibility. Couldn't get on to it.
Okay. Any other queries? Happy to move the annual rates rebate and remission statistics be received. Seconded, councillor Wong. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Getting there.
Yeah.
Page 58 is item 9.7, the fee, around the fee waivers.
Oh, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I'll take the paper as read. Thank you, Lorraine. And happy to answer questions.
Yeah, I mean, this is
This
one where we should be encouraging people to be sponsors for these organisations to pick up these rates.
These are the
Yeah,
ones we.
and so we go to these organisations and saying, we struggle. Could you think of somebody that would be interested in providing the service by way of maybe they could have naming rights or supporters be regarded as a supporter of, etc. But I agree in this case, Dave, we need to find avenues here.
Yeah, I guess what I'm signalling is this is where we start to have the hard conversations now, because this is what's going to crop up.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing that's going to crop up at rates capping, and we need to be signalling pretty much from the outset what rates capping is going to look like. And we're live online now. Here's a classic example of it. And this will only be one of the things that will crop up as we go along. But let's signal it. That's all I'm saying. No disrespect to the groups or organisations, they're all wonderful, but these are the things we have to have conversations about.
Yeah, but you also have to, I think, be aware we've got a community function here. And for instance, when the Kokako Hall, often it's not a cost we face, it's an income we forego.
It's an income we forego.
And equally, they could go down to the Utuku Rugby Club or somewhere else. But we need to make our facilities available where we can for some organisations.
Those are all around our facilities, those ones are all around our facilities, yeah.
They're tough conversations.
So it's just forfeiting those fees. Okay, so no further discussion. Happy to receive the fee waiver 1st of January 2026 to 30th of June 2026. Seconder, please.
Yeah, very soon.
Commissioner Mayor. All those in favour? Against carried. So we move to item 9.8, the statement of service provisions, end of year report 2025 to 26, which was attached separately. Welcome to the table.
Thank you. So this report's on performance measures that are set in the long-term plan for the previous financial year. These will end up in the annual report, so they're still yet to go through that audit process. We've got a few good areas to highlight, including in the Three Waters space. We've been doing really well attending all of RFS call-outs and resolving those on time. And we've also done quite well in our solid waste area too, where we've been managed to decrease the amount of recycling that's gone to landfill. But as our chair pointed out earlier in the beginning, we have some areas of improvement, including the roading space, where we haven't been able to reseal, meet our targets for resealing and maintaining some of the roads. Happy to take any questions.
In the transfer station, could we please put in what's the name of our cards? I've forgotten the word, chip reader.
If possible.
Payway.
Yeah, payway. It's just a hassle for staff, and you're getting a lot of people waiting in queues, and they're routinely saying to me, "Why can't we have payway?" And I know there's a cost, but I'd rather see an increase of the charge so that you can just handle people more easily.
There's a cost to the people when they use it now because the banks are putting it straight through and our staff are getting the abuse for that. And it's not in our control. That's coming through.
But I repeatedly get asked by staff at the transfer station, could we have payway?
I look to Anna on that one. I can't, Darren, I can't.
It's a choice though, isn't it? They can insert the card if they don't want to pay. They don't want
Correct, they can.
Yep.
Yep.
In the same machine. Yeah.
I think where a number moved away from it off the top of my head was because people drove off with it. I know we had a number of problems in another council with them driving off with it, including even though it was still attached, they just drove, which is then a cost to us. But I get what you're saying. I'm not saying no, it's just be aware.
It's the way the business is transacted.
I know, just be aware.
Oh, no, there's a follow-up action.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that how we'll treat it? Yeah. Please, thank you very much. Any other further discussion?
I'll leave it as an action.
Just very quickly, you mentioned that this is part of our LTP, so we'll be reviewing these targets as part of that. We do it in the LTP or is it annual plan?
You can only update our performance measures through a long-term plan, so we can do that.
So I thought that was the case. I'm just wondering when we get to have we will do, I'm sure we need to have a conversation, say, are our targets realistic to the environment that we're actually operating in now? And have some consideration to that, because if the targets aren't realistic, then let's make sure that the people that are responding to some of our targets have some feedback and input into what is realistic.
And we've started working through that internally currently, so we'll bring it back to you soon through a workshop.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Can I have a mover for through to this report, please? Thank you, Councillor Wong. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Wilson. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Item 9.9, page 62 is the quarterly feedback April to June 2026. Welcome, Jared, to the table.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, councillors. So, look, this is a report that comes to this committee regularly. Every quarter we provide the feedback that comes through the QR codes from our parks and reserves and facilities, and also the happy or not, which is the smiley faces and tablets that are in our community hubs and customer services area. So we provided the reporting for both the Kurita Mai QR codes and also the happy or not feedback there. You'll see with regards to the Kurita Mai feedback, we've also captured the action that was taken by officers relating to that. And with regards to the happy or not feedback, there's a bit of a summary and sort of trends and things like that that we follow, provide any positive feedback back to staff when that comes through, and then also take any learning opportunities that might come through from people who might have something not quite so positive to say about the space or their interaction.
Thank you. Any queries for Gerard?
Just sadly, the old age-old ones of the toilets come on, but one must remember they can be cleaned and 2 minutes later they can be dirty. So it reflects badly, but it's the reality of where we live in public toilet spaces.
Yeah, typically our public toilets are in spaces that are not exactly always that easy to get to or close, but the cleaning schedules are always on to them.
I must say that there's a lot that I'm very positive about cleanliness about toilets. Moving.
The comments around Taihape Gumboot Day and so on, and repeatedly struck us where Taihape people say, oh, Martin gets a better service, etc., etc. But surely it is up to those organisations to provide the information for us to promote.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, I've got some comments on that one. We did in fact promote it across our pages multiple times. So there were posts on our hub pages, posts on our Rangitike Aotearoa pages. The hub did a colouring competition for it. We had staff and youth council members go up for it. So there was a significant amount that we supported into that event.
Also, could I just add to that, having attended myself, we did walk the walk and talk the talk. Myself, the CE and our event organiser acted quickly when a suggestion was that the Martin Harvest Fair would be held on the same day. The decision was decisively made that no, we are not going to do that out of respect of Taihape, and we didn't. We possibly could have got away with it in Martin, but we decided no, we cancelled the Harvest Festival at a significant, well, it would have been a cost, but out of annoyance to a lot of people, but that was done in respect of Taihape. So to say that we are not walking the walk and talking the talk, as they say, or which way, I would refute that quite strongly in this occasion. So I'll park that there.
Thank you for those comments. I believe you're sitting in as the mayor at the time.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Councillor Wong?
I'll just comment, being there on the day. I do take on His Worship's comments that promotion that the Taihape could have been better. They have learned some lessons. There's always going to be some people that will make comments because they have one eye view. And thanks to the Chief Executive and Deputy Mayor and all council for supporting that day. It was a great success. So thank you for those involved.
I think these days are really important for our little towns. Gathering our communities together to celebrate is really important, especially in times of struggle. And I think that's a real feature of our little towns that we need to celebrate, that we can do this and have time with each other. But anyway, so can I please have a mover for receipt of this report? Thank you, Councillor Wong. Seconded, Worship the Mayor. All those in favour?
Right.
Against? Carried. Last item of today is 9.10, the Rangitikei Grant Finder, Grant Guru and external funding opportunities. Welcome to the table, Teresa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So today I'm presenting an update on the Rangitikei Grant Finder and external funding that's been applied for council. So this is a quarterly report put together for you based on April to June 2026. So in the image provided or attachment provided, it does just show that we've had 18 new registrations within this quarter. And we've seen an increase in community organisations registering and searching for the likes of arts, sports, events and environment. And then we have listed the applications that have been submitted, where we've had successes, accountability reports, and funding assistance that's been provided to some community organisations. And then lastly, we're looking forward to bringing the Rangitikei Community Funding Roadshow to Bulls on the 30th of September, where we'll have 6 funders coming along for that day and event. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Any questions for Teresa?
Have you had any further actions to follow up regarding the potential funding from the service clubs? Where's that sat with regards to the pool? Have you had another meeting with them? I know there has been, since unfortunately we were advised that we would be unsuccessful with Dunning. Has there been another meeting held with it? If there has, sorry, I missed it. But
not yet.
Not yet.
That is, sort of in the pipeline of, I've just had information come from lotteries in regards to supporting them with an application there.
I'll take it up with Arnold. There might be another avenue here that's come to my attention. Okay.
So if I'm looking at the application to the Four Regions Trust around the EOC, do I assume that we haven't had an answer on that yet?
So we have since
Oh,
the
okay.
report.
Okay.
So we were unfortunately unsuccessful with the application.
Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, is it getting harder out there?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
What do you put that down to?
I think what I'm hearing from funders is oversubscription. So they may have like say $1 million to give, but they're seeing double that in applications coming through. So whether they support everyone with a little bit or not is sort of what I've seen sort of on both sides, community and with council.
I'm just interested in your comments around, I'm sure that you've got several parts of council wanting you to apply to a certain organisations, like for instance, Four Regions Trust. How do you prioritise who gets the yes on that application?
Would you like to answer that, Gayleen?
Generally, we look at the projects we've got. Other staff might come to us with projects and then we'll go to ELT and have a discussion with them about the priorities.
Yeah, thank you.
The application's going in on behalf, I've raised this before, the application is going in on behalf of us as an organisation. And there's no councillor or governor involved in these decision-making processes at all. But it's our name that goes forward.
Nothing else to add? Any other further discussion? Yeah, I'm happy to receive the Rangitikei Grant Finder report. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Wong. All those in favour? Against? Carried. So we'll call the meeting closed at just after 4:30. Thank you.